A message to Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, The Final Betrayal. An opinion by Dr. Selwyn Cudjoe. The Honourable Rodney Charles is a friend. My disagreement with his Facebook post of January 3rd should be construed as a difference of opinion on a matter he raised. Charles wrote that the announcement by the leader of our grief and sorrow that he will quit active politics reflects an acknowledgement of the need for change, a departure from the status quo that should serve as an example to all political leaders of the country. I disagree with this assumption. He argues further, this moment marks a pivotal opportunity to reshape our political landscape and foster a culture of planned, deliberate and transparent succession. There is nothing planned nor deliberate about the departure of the leader of our grief and sorrow. He was pushed out because his politricks did not work. Time caught up with his arrogance and authoritarianism, so he has to go. His departure came on the heels of the untimely death of Lisa Morris Julian and after he arbitrarily dismissed Robert LaHunt's 2020 proposal to invest in our water supply and pay more attention to water distribution. The leader thought he was in control of his party when he postponed the PNM's convention last November, presumably because Stuart Young, his protege, could not win the leadership race. He blundered further when he accepted an $87,000 monthly salary, which gives him a monthly pension of the same amount for life, while he denied senior citizens a pension of $3,000 per month. The leader forgot or did not know that a pension is not a gift to senior citizens, but a debt a society owes them for their service to the country. It is not a favor we do for them. A quick read of Marcel Maus's essay, The Gift, 1950, will clarify this point. Mauss was a famous French social scientist. By the end of last year, the leader had lost touch with many of his citizens and party members. He called a state of emergency, SOE, but absented himself from the news conference that announced it. The next day, a special prosecutor was assassinated. He had to find a way out of electoral politics to save his party from certain defeat in the next election. Therefore, he called a parliamentary caucus surreptitiously to do what he couldn't do via the party's constitutional arrangements. He tried to install Young as our forthcoming prime minister. The outcome of a straw poll of the parliamentary caucus was 11 votes for Young, 9 votes for Penelope Beckles. We are yet to see the agenda of the meeting or the actual ballots that were cast. 2 MPs who voted for Young, Stephen McClashy and Fitzgerald Hines, were rejected by their constituents who lost confidence in them. By Tuesday, the leader's maneuverings were exposed, bringing him into greater disrepute. LaHunt, PNM's former vice chairman, described Young's selection as morally and ethically wrong. Jennifer Baptiste Primus, a senior PNM member, affirmed that PNM's General Counsel, GC, must have the final say on Stuart Young as Prime Minister and called on the leader to step down as political leader. Anything less is manipulation of the democratic process. A PNM GC meeting has been called. The GC should reject the caucus's recommendation of selecting Young as the Prime Minister and demand that the party hold its annual convention to elect a party leader before the next election. The leader's ineptitude is not a good example to all political leaders of the country. Charles would have been on firmer ground if he had used the example of PM Justin Trudeau of Canada, who notified his citizens he would announce his resignation as Prime Minister and party leader after the party selects a new leader. Financial Times, January 7th. The leader would have looked more patriotic if, like Trudeau, he declared, "I intend to resign as party leader and as Prime Minister after the party selects a new leader." The country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. FT, January 7th. Forcing Young down our throats was the leader's final betrayal. Jesus predicted that one of his disciples would betray him. Little did PNmites know their leader would betray them. As he suffered upon the cross, Jesus cried out, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Matthew 27:46. Those words will echo in the minds of Trinbagonians whenever they remember the shameful betrayal of their people by the leader and his cronies.